A popular Knicks target in Bruce Brown is going to be traded within the next month, and we have to talk about it. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do, because Bruce Brown within the next month is going to be traded off of the Toronto Raptors, according to their sources. And this is huge, because when you look at the New York Knicks, they have a great bench unit. They don't really need a guy like Bruce Brown, but with Brown getting traded, with the New York Knicks having a very injured roster at the moment, you have to think they're going to once again, for the third straight time, go to the Bruce Brown well and be curious on the value, his asking price, and kind of see what they could do with Brown moving forwards, as they do have a contract in Bojan Bogdanovic's that matches it perfectly, along with draft picks, and we could see a move potentially happen. I could imagine this being the case, and honestly, I understand it's a sort of a weird time to talk about this, considering the Knicks play a playoff game in the next few hours. But Brown potentially being available is just, it's something we know the Knicks are going to look at. They've been interested in Bruce Brown in the past. They liked him at the deadline, as shown here. According to Woj, he said, I think there's some teams like the Knicks who are very anxious to see if they could add Bruce Brown. Masai Ujiri could keep him and move him at the draft, which is now what's going to happen, as this was reported at the deadline. New York, the Lakers have interest. There are others, but Toronto is in no rush either. I think they're having Brown around some of their younger players is something that they like. A lot of these come down to the wire, and they find out what they can get for a player. And listen, the less you act like you're dying to move a guy, you kind of can get better offers from that. That allows some gamesmanship there, and we know Masai Ujiri does that. And Woj also said that he thinks it's going to be an active trade deadline, which it absolutely was. So Woj does know what he's talking about. We all know, we don't need to fact check Woj. We know that he is as connected as any single person in media. He absolutely called it. Bruce Brown didn't get moved. The Raptors liked him, but he couldn't get it going in Toronto as a player. Now, he was probably great for the young guys like Quickly, like RJ Barrett, like Scotty Barnes and all them. But when you look at the Raptors, they don't need him. The New York Knicks do not necessarily need him either. Josh Hart is basically the same player as Bruce Brown, but we know the Knicks had interest in the past. So if we're being honest with ourselves, we know they're going to have interest again. I have said before that I don't think Bruce Brown makes sense if you have Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart's better than him, so I don't think it really matters. But you have to imagine they're going to explore making this move. If you can get him for Bogdanovich and like one of those first rounders, like the 25th overall pick, I'm not saying I would do that trade. Honest to God, I would not. But you can imagine why the Knicks would do it. They like Bruce Brown. It gives them a different tradable contract in case they want to move Brown instead. We know teams are willing to take on Bruce Brown as a tradable contract in a star trade, as Pascal Siakam got traded to the Pacers. And the Pacers did well. I mean, they got to the second round before the New York Knicks eliminated them. Yeah, I'm saying it a few hours ahead of Game 6. They might get them in Game 7 anyway, but they're going to win. And I really hope that does not come back to bite me. But really, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in the idea of it. But I don't really know if it's the right move to make now. Maybe a few months ago. At the deadline, yes. But with the way Bojan Bogdanovich has played, I think he's a better fit for the New York Knicks than Bruce Brown is. And also, I don't think either would be long for the team anyway. I'm kind of starting to believe that the New York Knicks could be past the Bruce Brown era, except for the fact that we know they're going to look for him. They did it at the deadline, and as Bruce Brown said, over the summer, he took 2 meetings. The Knicks were the first, and then he said, I think we had others lined up, but we didn't make it there. I just think it's a perfect fit. Tyrese Halliburton was recruiting me. This is when he signed with the Indiana Pacers, only played half a season there. And these were his numbers last season. He did all right in Indiana, though his shot was not falling. But outside of that, he played pretty solid basketball for them as the full-time starting shooting guard. And then on Toronto, he really could not get things going at all. But he did have a good vibe. He gave him good locker room stuff. Except the Knicks just don't need that. This is not the same team it was a few months ago. The Knicks have changed. The priorities have changed. If you're going to trade Bojan Bogdanovich, I no longer see it being for something like this. I hardly ever did. But now you know it's not going to be for something like this. It's going to be something like, I don't know, some sort of star. It doesn't really, it's not clear who is going to be the star that the Knicks trade for right now because, well, let's be honest. The playoffs are still going on. We know it's not going to be Donovan Mitchell at this point. It kind of makes you wonder. I assume the Knicks are going to run it back next season considering how well they did with these injuries. Now, we've seen teams go both ways where sometimes you panic and you make a move anyway because you're like, oh no, we need to get better. Like what the Lakers did when they had an injury-riddled season, finished as the 7th seed, took the Suns to 6, who ended up going to the NBA Finals, panicked, traded Kuzma, KCP, all of them for Russell Westbrook, and then cheaped out on Caruso's contract, and now the Lakers are still a wreck from that. Or you could go the same way of not doing anything, and maybe the team had a magical run, and now you're staring down the barrel of a second-round exit. But this matters more than just to the Knicks. We don't know where Bruce Brown's going to get traded. We just know he's going to get traded. If he gets traded to another team in the Eastern Conference, you don't want that to be a contending team. Bruce Brown is good for winning. We don't want that in the East. We want Bruce Brown to be traded out west somewhere so we can ignore the Toronto Raptors and whatever team they trade Bruce Brown to as two teams that just won't affect the Knicks' success whatsoever next season. So it is something to keep an eye out on Bruce Brown. Now, the Knicks, again, I could still see them throwing their hat in the ring and be like, all right, what does Bruce Brown cost? We could add him. It adds another winner to the team. We know that's what the Knicks look for. They look for winners. And when you look at it, if they decide they don't want to use Bojan Bogdanovic anymore, you need to find a different ninth man for your nine-man rotation. I mean, Bruce Brown as a ninth man is a pretty sick deal. It's kind of a small bench, but it already was last season when we looked at quickly DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Hartenstein was what we thought the bench would be starting out this season. Obviously, a lot has changed, but the Knicks are not afraid to use a small bench, is what I'm saying. I'm kind of out on Bruce Brown. I no longer think that's important. And I understand people don't love when I make trade videos in the middle of the playoffs, but guys, it's a story that should be talked about. It's fun to just have discourse on it. I understand that we're focused on playoffs. So am I. Believe me, I live 3 blocks from MSG. I'm always hanging out around the area, watching Knicks games. If you guys see me tonight, if you're around the area, I don't know where I'll be. Maybe I'll post about it. Maybe I won't. But if you do see me around, always stop by, say hi, say what's up. I don't know. I like to think I'm pretty cool. Like, I'll always stop and chat with you about the Knicks. I get it. But yeah, guys, seriously, like, I don't make these trade videos just because no reason. I make them because I think they're going to affect the Knicks, and the news dropped today. I'm not going to sit on this for like a few weeks. So I understand you guys don't love trade videos always in the middle of the playoffs, but I did want to give you guys some reasoning on why I'm making it. I think Bruce Brown potentially being traded could affect the Knicks in various ways, and we know they're going to be involved in those trade talks anyway, so I'm just getting ahead on things for y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys understand why I'm making these trade videos in the middle of the playoffs now. I try my best not to do them, but sometimes I get told to make a YouTube video, and you know what? I don't own the channel, so I do what I'm told. Like Conor McGregor said, you'll do what you're told. I can't do an Irish accent, which is bad, because look at my last name. I don't know, guys. Have a great day, and go Knicks.